There's nothing that people love more than watching two rhinoceroses make love. But apart from that, they also love flourishy stuff that will hopefully get them some action on Instagram or Facebook. So that's going to be the point of this video. I want to show you guys a basic move. I'll also show you guys a little bit of a bonus trick that you could take to impress your friends at your next bris. So this is what we need. We need a deck. We're actually going to need the jokers, well, this one doesn't have color. I like my men colored, so let's see if we can fix that here. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's hot. Yeah, so we'll use those for later. But for now, the move that I want to put a little bit of time on is the card spring. It's that thing right now. Now you have a lot of people doing this sort of action and wondering how it is that they could do it themselves on social media websites such as, you know, Instagram, Facebook, Friendster. So today I want to drop some hot tips on the card spring and show you a little bit of a couple bonus tricks you could do to get these spectators in the maximum state of arousal. So the card spring looks like that. It sounds as if a small child is leaking fluid from his ear canal, but the move is a very pretty move and can no doubt get the attention of the folk around you. So what you're doing, and my personal grip on this move, is I like to put my thumb in the lower left corner. You're holding the cards in this sort of position here. Now you're going to put pressure, and I find that I think one of the most common issues among beginner magicians, you bag of cunts, is the fact that you're giving too much pressure with the cards. Cards are delicate. They need time alone with the family. They need to be treated equally to women and blacks. So the cards are delicate. You want to squeeze them enough to where the cards are going to start bending, but not much more than that, because then your cards are going to have a nasty bend, and you don't want to have that if you're trying to, you know, get some action with card magic here. So what's going to happen is you're going to try to bend the cards and not ruin the cards here. Now the cards are going to be released by the fingers here. I've seen people do fans where the pressure is released by the thumb. I don't necessarily like that, but again, to each their own. We live in a free country here. You're allowed to do whatever it is that a person wants. But you're going to bend the cards this way, and you're going to slowly release pressure with the top fingers here. Now, all I'm doing is, again, just releasing a little bit of pressure, holding the pressure with my thumb, for releasing pressure with my upper fingers there. Now, it really doesn't matter where these fingers are as long as they could have that equal pressure. But initially, you're going to want to have your hands as close as possible to each other, because you don't want to start doing this, this Devo sort of spring initially. You want to start with the cards as close as possible so that they don't go everywhere. And also the most important part is to try to make it a uniform spring. What I mean by that is that you want to make the cards spring in one general direction. You don't want them splattering as if it's some sort of crime scene. So that's the best tip that I could give you as far as just the beginning of the move. You want to have your hands as close as possible. You want to release the pressure with these upper fingers and hold the pressure with your thumb, so that once you start getting comfortable with the move, you're going to be able to release cards singly and not in chunks, because initially the cards are going to have the tendency to come out in chunks, in blocks of cards, and you want to avoid that, because that doesn't look good on Instagram. That's not going to get you all the likes. But eventually what's going to happen is that your fingertips are going to develop the control they need, so that you're going to be able to spring the cards in a singular fashion. Now again, you don't want to spread the cards too far apart. You want to keep them relatively close, even when you start getting to that point where you're springing the cards singly. So once you get to that point, that's when you could start separating the cards. Another hot tip is to not start with your hands far. You don't want to start with your hands far, because then people are going to laugh at you. You want to start with your hands close and then gradually bring it up and then come back down, because then that way it gives the illusion that your spring is a lot bigger than it actually is, but you're starting off with the hands relatively close together. So those are some hot tips on the card spring. Again, people want a shortcut for practice, but you can't replace practice. cunts. So that's the spring right there. That's I hope y'all could do it well. I hope you guys could do it better, and that gave you some hot advice as to how to improve your current spring. Now, what people don't often talk about are the uses for springs. Now, spring is a loud action here. If you notice, again, it sounds like a small child in need of desperate help, but you could use that to your advantage because this gets people's attention. So you could use that if there's a situation where you want to command attention here and show people that you got the chops. A spring is a great move to do that. So that's one way that you could use a spring that doesn't make you look like you are some sort of savant, retarded savant. So a spring is an attention-getting device. A second function for a spring here is to show skill, obviously. You're showing that you're adept at using cards. So if you have a style of card tricks where you're clumsy, your cards are falling everywhere, you're prematurely ejaculating, you don't want to do a spring because then that's going to kill your character. You're hot-shotting the game here. So spring is also a display of character. Now, third thing that a spring could be is a magical moment. So what I mean by that is that you're using a spring to be defined as a magical moment. So what I mean by that, let's do a trick here where I'm going to use the jokers to display this context. So again, you can have your jokers in whatever buck twins position you want to produce them, but you could false cut, you could do whatever cut you want here, and then ultimately produce the jokers and say, look, I have 2 jokers here. I don't practice a lot. Do whatever it is that you need to do. But for this particular trick, we'll leave them on top here. So you have the spectator call stop as you riffle through here, and let's say they call stop on the the 7 of clubs. My autism almost came through there. So they stop at the 7 of clubs. That's a great card here. So we're actually going to use the jokers here. So we have one joker here that's not colored, followed by another joker that is colored. And we're going to leave them in the middle of the deck here. And we're going to see if we could actually do a little bit of a magic move here to help those jokers find your selected cards. So here it goes. Look, you'll be able to see it. Look, did you see them? Did you see them? You saw what happened? Look, the jokers trapped one card, much like a transvestite traps men into thinking that they're attractive females. It trapped your mentally selected card here. The jack, the 7 of clubs, sorry. And that's one thing you could do. So again, in that case, you're using the spring as a moment. So to define as when the magic actually took place. So I'll show you how to do that here. It's not too hard if you are a somewhat reasonably seasoned magician. So here, what you do is that you have the jokers on top of the deck. If you want to do an obnoxious way to put them on top of the deck, really, it's up to you. But you're going to have a card peeked at, 6 of diamonds, you keep a break. Now it's going to happen, you're going to spread the cards and show here that, you're not controlling the cards in any way here. Of course, you're maintaining a break. Now what's going to happen is you're going to show the joker here. And as you're showing the joker, my thumb is going to riffle up the back here and get a break under the bottommost card, which is going to be their card. So I could cut the deck at this point and peel off this first joker as I make some sort of comment about how it's amazing how far we've gone, that, you could have a white joker and a colored joker in the same place at the same time. You could do that, but what's going to happen is that you're going to peel this joker off onto this packet in the left hand. Then as you're going to peel this this joker, you're going to deposit this selected peek that card on top of this colored joker, which is going to be covered by the fact that you're sliding this joker right on top of it. So what's happening, one more time for those of you that are from Eastern South America, is that you are going to be having the spectator peek at a card here, 2 of hearts. You might want to spread, show off, hey, I don't have any control over the cards here. As you square it up, you're going to show the jokers here, and by doing that, you're going to riffle up one card, put your little thumb there to establish a break, and cut the deck at that point. So you could peel one of the jokers off, make a comment, and as you're going to peel the next joker, you're going to steal that card between the jokers here. So now you've supposedly just put the jokers face up in the middle of the deck. Really, you've snuck the little card between it. You're going to drop this half on it, and now you're going to do your best friend, the card spring here. You're going to spring the cards as your magical moment here and show, oh man, that's crazy. What? We have one card between the jokers. Wouldn't you believe that it is your card, the two of hearts? You know, you can do whatever it is, whatever pattern you want. But that's some hot tips on a joker. I hope you appreciated that. Please make sure to practice that as hard and as long as possible. Check out the Any Card at Any Number project if you haven't done so already. It's a fantastic product, getting rave reviews from everyone. And in that, you'll be supporting me and learning an amazing Any Card at Any Number that you could do to get pussy. I'm going to go figure out various other ways to get pussy.
See you again when I see you again. 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 When I see you again.